Welcome in to our holiday/Christmas episode of This Week in FredNats. Eric Bach, voice of the FredNats, Robbie Perry, GM of these Fredericksburg Nationals. Happy holidays, Rob.
Happy holidays, man. What a game on Sunday as well.
I was about to bring it up and say congrats to your Bills. Lions are still, in theory, okay right now.
Absolutely.
By the time this comes out, we'll have a little bit more knowledge about that.
That's true.
Not trying to panic. Josh Allen's playing like a god.
Yes.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. We're, Bills fans are blessed, very blessed.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are peaking at the right time for sure. So we're using this holiday episode to tease a little bit of what's happening in 2025. The picture is starting to become a little more clear about 2025 and what's going to be going on here at the ballpark. And the first thing that we have to talk about before we get to any of the 2025 promotions are the game time changes.
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge change.
Huge change.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays moving up from 7:05 to 6:35, and a few changes on Sundays too.
Yeah, so, the little explanation behind the time change. When we was 7:05 is a unusual game time, starting that late in minor league baseball. We were terrified of I-95 when we, early on, when we created our times back in early 21 for our inaugural season, terrified of what is that going to look like? Are people going to be able to get to the games? Well, we realized that while there be some challenges for some folks, we did a bunch of surveys. We looked at what times people were coming in on those days, and they were not late arrivers.
Right.
If anything, they were early departures. They were leaving seventh inning stretch. It was a mass exodus in the stadium. We want those people to stay to the end of the game,
right.
So we're moving it up 30 minutes. That should keep the kids here a little later. We also realize that this is an early rising community. People got to go to bed early. So our plan on those days is to keep people here just a little bit later throughout the game. But Fridays and Saturdays stay the same at 7:05.
Yep.
Big change on Sunday, and this is one thing I know everybody's excited about.
Yeah.
Historically, we've always done 1:35 game times on Sundays for the whole year. We've always heard the number one thing we heard about that was, oh, my goodness, in the summer it's hot and it's scorching. And if you came to games, you would know you were on the concourse hiding in the shade. So what we're doing is in April, May, and June, all Sunday games are going to be at 1:35, and then when the heat really starts cranking up in July and August, we're moving those game times to 6:05. So obviously, it's still early enough where you can get home, you can get ready for the Monday work week, but you also get out of the heat, man.
Yeah.
We when we ran surveys, it was about 80% of all the fans picked any time later than 1:35.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm cooking up there in the booth.
Oh, my goodness.
In July and August on those Sunday day games, so I think that's a welcome change for everyone around here. And obviously, so 6:35 Tuesday through Thursday, Fridays and Saturdays staying at 7:05, Sundays primarily 1:35, except in July and August they'll be at 6:05. So we've got some giveaways. Obviously, every Sunday is a giveaway Sunday here with the FredNats. Most Saturdays are themed night Saturdays, and we'll be kind of announcing those as we go throughout this offseason. But to start it off, the first weekend of FredNats baseball back here in 25 is going to celebrate the championship from 24.
And, that's going to turn out to be pretty much our theme for the year. So going to be a lot of championship giveaways, a lot of leading into championship, a lot of the history of the FredNats and, and the Potomac Nationals before the FredNats. And it all starts with our first weekend on April 11th, and that is going to be literally called Championship Weekend. So we're going to hit it with a big fireworks show on Friday. We're going to do another fireworks show on Saturday where we're actually going to give team photo of the celebration. We're going to give those out at the gates. And then on Sunday, probably going to be one of our most excited giveaways, especially our loyal fans, is we're going to be giving away championship replica rings at the gate. So obviously get here early on April 12th. And April 13th, these people are going to be coming in droves for that. And that's going to be championship weekend. But as you go and you look at going to be our Sundays throughout the year, a lot of our premium giveaways are going to lean into obviously the Carolina League Championship. It's going to be, we have Sakura, we have actually a bobblehead of the trophy with the team celebrating. We're going to be doing, a Jake Lowery, trophy giveaway. We're going to be doing a blanket. We're obviously going to do a Hawaiian shirt that's going to be very, championship, kind of themed. and along with the replica ring giveaway. But we also got a bunch of other giveaways that are going to be really fun, that are going to be tied to themes, that they're also going to be kind of standalone as well. But we want to make sure that we don't miss the boat celebrating our championship. First ever Carolina League championship for the Fredericksburg Nationals. We obviously know that's what the fans want. They want that in their hands. So we're going to go out and give it to them.
Yeah, championship weekend is opening weekend. The team in 2025 begins the first 3-game series on the road, and then it'll be 6 in a row at home to open the home schedule in 2025. That Sunday capped off by the replica ring giveaway. And you mentioned the one Sikora thing. It's the last thing we'll tease on this holiday episode, is that the Travis Sikora bobblehead is coming May 11th.
Oh, yeah. And we're doing Travis Sikora bobblehead. Is obviously going to be in his favorite jersey, the George pullover jersey, the blue jersey. That's what we also won from the, in the Carolina League championship game, the clinching game. So, and he was the pitcher, obviously the starting pitcher. So we're going to make sure that we're going to take a picture straight from that game when he
Carolina
was
League pitcher of the year too,
and the Carolina League pitcher of the year. Yeah, so it was a no-brainer to do his bobblehead. We got some good. We got more player bobbleheads this year than we've ever had. So, we're really, really, really excited about the giveaways. We have more jerseys, replica jerseys, than we've ever had. We know what the fans want. The last 4 years, we've really seen what the fans desire, what they show up for. So this year, we're just going to give them more. We're going to give them more options on Sundays, and we want to reward the fans.
So that's the recap is 6:35 game times Tuesday through Thursday at home. The Sunday game time shifted back to 6:05 p.m. in the hot months of July and August. Championship celebration on our opening week of games here in Fredericksburg. Replica ring giveaway on Sunday, and then Sunday, May 11th, right here in Fredericksburg is the Travis Sikora bobblehead, and I know that will be a popular item. We've seen some long lines down there.
Oh, man.
That one might be the longest.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Can't wait for it. Happy holidays, Rob, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Stay safe.
Is the Christmas episode of This Week in FredNats, and to celebrate the holiday season, we have the manager of the 2024 Carolina League champion Fredericksburg Nationals here with us, Mr. Jake Lowery. Skipper, happy holidays. So good to see you, my friend.
You too, you as well. It's always good to be back with you and Woo in the booth, man. So happy holidays to everyone out there.
Tell me about the background going on here, because we've got, obviously your full-time gig is to manage in the Nationals organization, but in the off season, there's some odd jobs, right?
Yeah, man. So this is the vibe of the men's PE locker or men's PE office here at Midlothian High School. Shout out Kevin Thomas, Jerron Giddings, Matt Hutchings. But yeah, man. So I got a long-term gig, 9th grade PE, health and PE. This guy's taking his paternity leave, so they asked me if I'd come on, and I'm on day 35, man. So I'm rolling until January.
That's, what they say, if you make it to day 35, you're in for life, right?
Yeah, that's what they said. They want me to do a Zoom every day on field 12 during spring training and keep doing this class. So I'm going to do my best. But yeah, 124 my last day, but he's counting.
The nice and chilly field 12 down there in beautiful West Palm Beach, right? You guys don't sweat at all when you're down there doing that.
No sweat, man. It's just running fundamentals, boys in and out. We're doing PFPs. We're doing the whole gamut, and then we'll head out to Okeechobee and get out there after that.
Okeechobee, here we go.
Right.
So, have you had a chance? I know we're by the time this airs, we'll be 3 months removed from the championship, which is just absolutely wild to think about for me. I mean, now that we're a little bit zoomed out from it, have you had a chance to reflect on it some more? Because last time we were all celebrating it together, it was the night of, and then pretty much everyone kind of dispersed and went their own way the next day.
Yeah, no, I've had some time to reflect. It was quick, right? Like there was a 10-day, playoff window post regular season. But yeah, we had a great time that night, and then guys were dapping guys up left and right, and they're headed out, they're headed home, they're driving, they're getting ready to get on their flights. But yeah, man, I've had a lot of people that have come up to me and just said that it's, it was fun to watch the team, but being in it and all these games that were close, some of these, they were just fun, man. And it gives these guys that experience, myself, my staff, moving forward to know that they've been in a playoff scenario, playoff situations. And these guys will take that, for the rest of their careers.
That's kind of my next point is that, regardless of what happens in all of our baseball careers, we will always all have this run, right? And, you know, not every guy on that 2024 team is going to be a big leaguer. Not every coach is probably going to make it to the big leagues. Not every announcer is probably going to make it to the big leagues. But I mean, that was just so much fun. And the way that it happened, obviously the result was what we all wanted, but kind of the drama of each set of it, right? Because the Carolina series was a sweep, but it was two very close competitive games. Obviously, the championship series went to that third deciding game after a really close game in Kannapolis in game one, and then you had the weather thing and the weird doubleheader thing to decide the championship. I mean, it was a pretty unique run to the title if we're just strictly talking about the playoffs and forgetting the 132 games that got us to the playoffs, right?
No doubt, man. I think, with the new draft guys, they really filled some holes that we needed in our lineup, kind of stretched us a little bit further, 1 through 9. But like you said, like it ended with a potential doubleheader. I didn't really want to make the lineup for the second game, knowing that we were already up 1-0, but like you had it ready just in case because you want to think like that. But the other team, Kannapolis, they already had theirs ready for me. So it was like, I don't want to send you mine. There was some back and forth of that. But like you said, like we swept the first one and then there was a couple of days off. You wouldn't even know where we're going yet. We're stuck in a hotel waiting to see. We're practicing in the, cold weather and it's raining all of a sudden in Carolina. So we got food getting delivered to the hotel. We're not even there. A lot of crazy things happen, behind the scenes. But like you said, for that group of guys, to come together and just kind of done what we've done all season, but we added some players to strengthen our lineup. Guys came up from Florida, guys from the draft. The pitching side just did their thing. And, like I said, it was a fun run. It kind of felt like it was a culmination of like 3 years of us being there together and things finally going our way, come playoff time.
No doubt about it. And again, that was kind of my next thing is that was the capper of your 3 years in Fredericksburg. And the three of us or the two of us were together for those 3 years, and all three were good years. I mean, all three
Right.
ended up being over 500 winning seasons, playoffs in 22, obviously the title in 24. I do think that is the perfect kind of punctuation on those 3 years, right? Because the 22 team had James Wood, the 23 team had Dylan Cruz. I mean, these are like big names that came through in our time here together. And obviously the 22 playoffs didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but I do think that was almost like the perfect storybook ending to that era of FredNats baseball, the Jake Lowery era of FredNats baseball, right?
Yeah, I think, you can't forget about JY, Gold Glove finals up there.
Sure.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
our guy, but
Sorry,
yeah,
Jay.
you have 3 of 3, starting outfielders in the big leagues on, FredNat teams that came through Fredericksburg, and the fans got to experience how close they are. And then, within 2 years, they're all in the big leagues, starting, playing, impacting the team. So for us, you and I and, Carmelo being there for 3 years, it was a really cool thing to see these guys all do it, and knowing that we had that experience in 22, 23 wasn't a bad year. Like you said, we were over 500. I know it came down the last week, but I mean, that's saying something about our team with all the roster moves and things that happen, injuries here and there. And then the first weekend here, we had 2 guys go down with, Tommy John, and then we had other guys step up. And I know that's at the beginning of the year, but you can't forget, you got to wins in April count just like they do in September. I think we both know that, but at the same time, it was fun, man. It really was. These guys stepped up in different situations. All the plays, the top plays I know we're running through these guys. I mean, man, it's fun to look back and see these guys, excel, but also have fun.
Yeah, super fun for me to help put that list together of trying to decide. I mean, there's so many good plays to choose from. To whittle it down to 10 was pretty difficult. But I wanted to talk about the staff continuity. You mentioned that you and Jaime were together for all 3 of your years in Fredericksburg. But from 23 to 24, there was only one change. I mean, it was the same group in 23 outside of DY going to Wilmington and Mike Habas coming in as the hitting coach in 2024. I mean, there's something to be said for that with all the continuity that you guys had with the group that was there before. And obviously, Mike, as the new guy, fit in great.
No doubt. I think, Eddie Longos did a great job getting our staff together and just, we all stay together, right? That was the first year, I think you and I have talked about it, that, I've had the same pitching coach 2 years in a row. And as someone being, that close to pitching as, I was to catching, that plays a huge value throughout the season with Justin Lord, anchoring the ship, and these guys know who to go to. He did such a good job with guys like Susanna, Sikora, Jake Bennett 2 years ago before he got injured. Obviously Clemmy and our bullpen was rock steady all year. So these guys, I think they really did a really good job of listening to him. We got Atencio moved up, Brian Caceres, a lot of these guys, man, it was fun. But at the same time, the continuity of the staff, everyone being on the same page. And Mike, Jaime, and I, we always talked about it. Even when DY was here, we talked about being an offensive unit. It's not just the hitting coach shoulders all the load. I know we're in the low minor leagues, but in the big leagues, you got 4 of these hitting guys. And with us, it's 3 of us. 3 out of the 4 guys are offensive guys. So we're going to all help each other out. And I think the guys noticed that. When Mike went down with an injury, I think he noticed that we weren't just going to leave him out to dry. He's our guy. 49's our guy. So Jaime and I, we went to the cages, and you don't see that typically from maybe a manager's standpoint, but that's what we got to do, man. It's next man up, and Lordy would always be there to help. But I still think just the continuity of the team. These guys knew the communication was going to be off the charts. You never hear anybody talk about how over communicating is overkill. I'd rather have that than no one know what's going on. Even in the playoffs, we did some team fundamental stuff, because I found that in 22, not that we were just going through the motions, but I was like, I don't want us to forget things, and it takes 10 minutes. So some of that stuff kind of shows up, throwing to bases and keeping the ball down from the outfielders, and some PFP stuff, man, that stuff shows up. It ended on the one of the games we ended on a PFP with Arguelles. So for me, it's that stuff that matters. It's the stuff that counts. We're going to practice things that happen in the game and show up. So why not do it? But yeah, I can't say anything, nice enough about our staff. We had a great, front office, from the front office all the way down. I think we did a really good job of communicating and staying together. And, we ended up winning that championship.
Multiple huge outfield assists too in those playoff games. Like, I think of Vaquero to lead off the playoffs, and then obviously to throw that guy out at the plate in the championship series, which we will look at here coming up later on in this show. But for those that don't know, God bless Mike Habas, the hitting coach of the FredNats, broke his hand, got hit by when he was flipping in the cages, I don't know, mid-August. It was later in the season.
Yeah, just a bad ricochet off somebody, off a net, and just had to. He wasn't allowed to do things, and that's like part of it, right? Like, it's like he's not allowed to. He's icing his hand. He's doing his best he can to. He's still giving us a great, scout report and doing his job, but at the same time, the physical aspect, like, he wasn't allowed to do some things. So Jaime and I, hey man, that's our guy. We're the offensive unit. That's how we're going to roll. So it's just, we just step up, man. That's what we do with the Freddies.
Without a doubt. And obviously the support staff, all 3 of the support staff full-timers from 23 were back as well. Nate Sire, strength and conditioning, Josh Freely, performance analyst, Jake Meyer, athletic trainer. I mean, those guys have a huge part in it too. And I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't give them the credit they deserve.
No, man, those guys are irreplaceable, as they say. We got State Farm as the ATC. We got Big Nate stretching the boys, getting the boys jacked, and then we got Josh with the info, and just good vibes all the time in the dugout. So these guys are just a part of our staff as much as the on-field staff. And when we celebrate, we're all hugging each other. It's not like it's a separate thing. So it was cool to celebrate with those guys as well. And that's just, we're tight knit, man. It's not like that everywhere. We always try to say that it's not like this everywhere, boys.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you mentioned earlier the strength of the bullpen. I think that's a huge theme of that 2024 season, just from beginning to end. I mean, it wasn't just a playoff thing that the bullpen guys locked it in. And when you look, I was going through the season-long roster and all the roster moves that happened during the season. I mean, there were some guys that were there from beginning to end, but you look at prospect lists and stuff. Obviously, people that follow the minor leagues these days are, obviously the most interested in the bigger name prospect guys, right? But you look, these guys that were just nails the entire season aren't on these prospect lists, right? I mean, your Bubba Halls, your Merrick Baldos, just to pull two names out of the hat. There's several more that contributed as well. I mean, I feel like that unit, obviously the offense did well enough to win the title, but I feel like that bullpen, from my standpoint, was almost kind of the spine of this team.
No doubt, man. We talked about this from, like you said, from April to September on our weekly chats on Sundays. It seemed like somebody else was going to step up that week, and there was very few hiccups from the Baldos, the Bubba Halls, the Blue Bombs and Krantz at the end. We had guys that just, hey, man, like you look up and that guy's got like a 2 ERA, right? And you're like, man, he's done a really good job. And so for me, it really lengthens the game for us. Obviously with starters only allowed to go a certain amount of innings, the Clemmies, the Sikoras until a certain amount of, the Staleys, these guys are giving us big time innings out of the pen, or starting, at the same time, it's like, dude, like these guys would just go up and you're like, man, that's 6 up, 6 down. I want to keep going, but I really want to have him in 2 days. But man, like you said, they were nails all season. And they showed up in the playoffs for us. The Arguelles, when he came back from injuries, and I can't say enough nice things about our pen and the way that Justin Lord really got him going, right? I mean, like he's not down there during the game. We're just telling these guys when they're going to pitch, when they might pitch, and these guys got them above themselves. Mason Denenberg's early in the season before he got moved up. These guys did a really good job of getting themselves ready in a role that super impactful with their outs to get later in the game.
And for you, having been in Fredericksburg for 3 seasons, and obviously we've hit on the staff continuity, but there were some guys in 24 that were also in Fredericksburg in 23. Maybe were there for part of the season, maybe were here in 24 for part of the season. I mean, for you to see somebody that comes back, I mean, nobody wants to repeat a level and when they're trying to move themselves through an organization. But for you, it has to be an extra layer of special to see a guy come back. I think of Royce Quintana. I think of Elijah Green. I mean, I think of Brenner Cox as a guy that struggled a lot in his first season in 23 in pro ball, but then really turned it around and was a key contributor for this playoff run in this season. I mean, those guys for you as a manager have to be the kind of the extra layer of special. Quintana especially. I mean, a full season in 23 and only about a half season in 24 before he earned a promotion.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, having some key position players come back, guys that consistently get 5 to 6 games a week, it bodes well for your team, bodes well for your clubhouse culture. These guys know how to get to the ballpark and all the stuff behind the scenes. But my job as a manager is also managing people, managing the players, managing the schedule, in addition to managing the game. For me to have, leaders like Elijah, Brenner, to help the Ochoas, the Nick Peoples, in the Armando Cruzes that, he played here a little bit, he came back. These guys that in Quintana, you have Q coming back and he's playing a different position. Then we go back out to the outfield, he's DH, he's playing first. I mean, he's doing them all, man. So for me to have those guys to come back, do their thing and do a really good job of, coming within themselves. Doesn't matter what level you're at, right? We don't have short season anymore. And for me to think about them having to repeat a level sometimes is a downer, maybe coming out of spring training. But then a lot of these guys were like, man, I'm excited to come back. Like, I know he's going to be on the staff. I know where to go. I know where my apartment's going to be. I know X, Y, and Z. I know where to get my breakfast. Like, we know whatever that stuff may be, that outside the game kind of thing. To me, it's one of those things where it bodes well for the team, the clubhouse culture, all that kind of stuff. So, and then they were key contributors this year, and they really came to themselves, obviously, with the investments that the Nationals made in these guys.
And, familiarity breeds comfort sometimes. I mean, the saying familiarity breeds contempt eventually, but when you're trying to come back and just be really focused on your game and yourself and your ability to maybe move, that's definitely something that you have to consider. And last podcast, I talked to Brenner about, obviously he was a repeat guy coming back. I asked him what he thought his role in the clubhouse was, and his answer was pretty similar to what you just said, as far as a guy that's been here trying to show people the ropes as far as how to go about your business both on and off the field. I mean, it cannot be overstated the value of those type of guys in the clubhouse, and that's almost kind of an extension of you as the manager, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take that lightly, and I think that's something that, has been in, hey, look, I'm going back to the same level that you played at last year. Like, so what, man? Like, it's not like, oh, I want to get moved up. I want to do this. Like, yeah, everybody wants to do that, but every path is different for every guy and every individual, every coach, manager, data analyst. It doesn't matter, man. Like, it's like we have a job in professional baseball, and it's our job to develop you, not only as a baseball player, but as a person. And I think with, Brenner getting sent down, it's like, hey, man, he never wants that feeling again. Like, and I tell these guys at the beginning of the year, and nothing changes about my playing career. It's, I've been sent down, I've been released, I've been signed, I've been a free agent, been DFA'd, been cut, like been promoted, been demoted, like been through it all. So at the same time, like I can relate to these guys in that realm, but like a Brenner Cox and Elijah Green, just to have that presence in the clubhouse to help out the guys that they're boys, but at the same time, they have never been at this level. They haven't had that success or the 2 week failure, or they feel like they haven't got a hit. I think these guys help pick these guys up and, showed out throughout the entire season.
A phrase that I heard used about you a lot from the guys in the clubhouse is players manager. And I think you somewhat just described what that means as far as being able to relate to what these guys are going through because of your playing career. But do you think you can elaborate a little bit on what the phrase players manager means to you? Because that's another thing Brenner and I talked about last show is that for me, a guy that was in the clubhouse every single day, but not in the group, it seemed that you were able to pretty easily walk this line of, yes, I'm the manager. Yes, I'm in charge. Ultimately, I have a big voice in whether or not your guys' careers are going to go the way you want them to as far as in this organization. But knowing that we're all driving towards the same thing. We're all, treating each other the way that we want to be treated. I mean, it just felt like it just seemed like it comes naturally to you being able to kind of wear both hats, kind of the player side of it and the managerial side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a compliment, just to like my parents or the way they brought me up, and being in my dad's being a coach, but also just being around the game for so long. This will be year 15 for me, and I've been around a lot of managers and a lot of coaches that I've related to, and found things that I like about them, and things that maybe I'm like, what, maybe that's not for me. So to me, learning from someone like Terry Francona, who's obviously a Hall of Famer, listening to what Davey says to the group. Taking things from Dusty, Bobby Henley, the Randy Norrs, the Matt Lee Croys, the Delino DeShields, not just people in our system, but just the way they go about their business. I think it just bodes well, and you can take little things here and there. So for me, trying to, it's not like I'm demanding respect. I'm going to earn your respect. I'm not going to, they're going to see that I'm going to stick up for these guys in situations that need to be stuck up for. The Brian Polanco things, like, the guys going through something. It's like, hey man, like, we're going to take you aside. We're going to talk to you. It's not just going to be something where we're going to blow it up in front of the team, things like that. So for me to, I try to speak Spanish as much as I can, and they know that I try. And I think that's something else that, the guys will respect that. They're not going to just be like, oh, this guy doesn't care. He doesn't earn anything. They listen, right? They're going to play for you. They're going to play hard for you. If you stick up for them and show them the ropes, I'm going to have some feel with things. I think we talk about that. Like, you can't just, buy it. You got to have it. There's days where, we get in late and we're going to have it set up, and we're going to talk to the guys and tell them why we're going to do this, why we're going to do that, to give you a break on the backside. Or we talk about their playing time and, hey man, do you want this day off, or think about this day? You got this guy going. Okay, I got you. I'm not going to they're not just going to show up and be like, what's the lineup today? It's these guys are going to know these things ahead of time. That way they can prepare their bodies, get their lifts in with Big Nate, get some extra work from State Farm in the training room, instead of, just get into the field and feel like they're rushed. I hate that feeling. I hated that feeling as a player. Hate that feeling, in spring training. Sometimes it happens, but just you gotta have some feel with some things. And, it's a long season. You can't just go hard the whole time. It's got to be some breaks in there. The way you talk to people, the way you treat people, I think that goes a long way.
No doubt about it. I definitely feel that in my job of like just even working with you and having the lineup way early and knowing the schedule the night before, it makes my job easier. And I feel the same way doing what I do. Is like, I don't want to be rushed. I want to have everything just set up for me when we get there. you mentioned your upbringing recently. Flip phone Lowery, Tim Lowery, your father. He went into some Hall of Fame, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so he's going into the Virginia High School Coaches Association Hall of Fame this Friday, the 13th, at the University of Richmond. He's going in with some other fellow coaches that actually he plays golf with. Greg Connor from Powhatan. Guys with close to 500 wins. Another guy's got 500 high school wins. And we talk about high school baseball. My dad did it for 36 years, and he was a head coach. He was a teacher as well. But I'm really happy for him, and it'll be a good event. But yeah, like he's instrumental in my career of helping me and showing me what a good father is, what a good dad is. And now he's a great grandpa to my kids. But I'm excited for him. It's gonna be a fun night.
And obviously, we here at the FredNats appreciate Flip Phone Lowry so much because we know that he's listening every night. And, we see him on the road, we see him here. He's just a great guy to chop it up with baseball wise. But kind of the next thing, you just keep leading me into I didn't even send you my bulleted list before this show, but it's like you have
You know
it.
how we roll. We're on the
Yeah,
same page.
that's just what we do. You mentioned the long season. It's 130, pushing 140 games when we get into the playoff situation. Obviously, you've got a wife and two young kids, and luckily for you, you live somewhat locally to Fredericksburg here in the Richmond area. But I mean, it's not easy to do what you guys do. I mean, Jaime's got kids. Mike Cabas has a young baby. Justin Lord's got a younger daughter who's kind of in her formative years, right? I mean, it's for you guys to be able to do what you do. I mean, it takes a support system around you.
It sure does, man. My wife Carlin and my two kids, TJ and Kensley, they do a great job of, adapting, surviving. My wife holds the fort down at home. She's a teacher. She has her own career. She's a coach. And then, we have great grandparents, Jim and Tammy, and then my mom, my gramps and grandma, my mom and dad that really help us out, when I'm not there. And, it's something that we could, we discussed obviously when I was done playing, like if this avenue opens up, this is something I really want to do. I think I'd be good at it, but also something I've always wanted to do when I was done playing. And, they don't just pick anybody, right? We talk about that all the time is, you're assigned something, but it's like your job to take ownership of it. And, I think all the support staff in our families, they help out, they take care of the kids. And then that's what the off season and the end season. I don't try to just be like, the off season, I'll do this and this and this with the family. It's like, if they're involved during the season and they're up there, man, like we're going to treat them just like we're at home, right? We want them there. We want them having fun. And then they know when to, go in the stands and hang out with Gus, get in the suite, whatever. But at the same time, like I can't say enough great things about my wife and kids and coming up and missing school and to be there for that postseason run and the season at all, So like I said, that was 14 years, it was my first championship, and, my wife's been there really for all of them. So it was fun.
I assume that Santa is going to be visiting the Lowry household for TJ and Kiwi by the time. Hopefully, he will have visited by the time this podcast comes out, right?
That's what I'm hoping as well. Yeah, there were some things on the list, and I know he's checking it twice, but I think they've been pretty good. So, we'll see what happens on the 25th.
It lands on the right side of it for good old TJ and Kiwi. I mean, to be able to have, I mean, Jaime's kids are always running around here. TJ and Kiwi, obviously. I mean, those are just bonds that are naturally formed through baseball that those kids will have for life.
No doubt, man. I mean, they get to come on the road and, they know how to act in hotels, and we get to do some cool things and some really special things that I think that they don't realize maybe now, as they get older, and they always feel like they can come on the field. And I'm like, guys, it's not going to be like that everywhere we go. You can't just jump on the field at Nats Park or, when we go to a football game at JMU. And I know that happened a couple times, so letting them know that they are, they're privileged in this realm, and, that your dad does something cool for a living. I hope I continue to do it for a long time. But at the same token, it's cool to have these memories. I know I'm having a good time with them because I saw, former managers and coaches that I had in the past that, treated their kids just like they treated their players like family, and had them around the clubhouse, and then obviously they knew when to leave, or when to get out of the way. But at the same time, I was like, man, I really want that in my life, and hopefully my kids can appreciate it just like I did.
No doubt about it. Last one before we dive into this top 10 playlist. Do you have any final thoughts about your 3 years in Fredericksburg in general, about the place? Obviously, we know how wonderful the ballpark is and the community supports this team so much, but do you have any kind of just final thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank the fans. I know we talk about that a lot, but from the ownership, with Art and the Silvers all the way down the front office, you guys treated us the way that we want to be treated, right? We have an interaction during spring training, but we're always communicating, and then the season pops in, and everyone wants to get their spiel in, but at the same time, it's I want to see doers. I don't want to see people that don't do it, right? And I feel like with Robbie and Gus and yourself and Big Ben, everybody did a really good job of helping us and keeping the vibes high during weeks of maybe we're not winning that series or whatever. And it's not always about the wins and losses, but for 3 years we've had a really good team. We've had a lot of wins. We've had some really cool moments and special things like we're going to get into, but it's just a big thank you. I know it goes a long way, and the fans really make that ballpark and coming home easy, and it's fun to be home. I know a lot of people don't like playing at home and some of the other ballparks around that we play in, but we love being home and going other places, and know how fortunate we were in Fredericksburg.
Without a doubt. So let's now move on to the top 10 play list. I don't even think that you need to pull up the video because we all have it. We all have it in our minds here. But we're just going to go through it 10 through 1. By the time this podcast comes out, the entire list will have been out. So it's not no spoilers going on here. So number 10 is that Nate Ochoa throw from left field. It's in the championship game, Game 3. That's it. Vaquero goes down. Unfortunately, it's like the last 2 innings of the season. Sliding back to first, hurts his shoulder, can't continue. Thought there might be a different change, but nope, it's Ochoa going out to left. And of course, the ball finds him.
Right. Yeah. So, I had Banks come out to run, and I was like, no, not you, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, he wasn't allowed to be. I was like, I'm not burning you. Yeah. And he needed Mota. Mota came back in, and Mota's at third. We put Ochoa in left because I know he can handle it because he's played pretty much every position besides pitcher, center, right, catcher. Yep. And what do you know that ball trickles down the line, and he makes a perfect one-hop throw to second. I don't know what the runner was doing, but it's not my problem. But dude, it was awesome, right? So it just gave us that momentum on defense that we needed with Sikora, and it was lights out after that.
And we'll get to Sikora more here shortly. But number 9 is Brenner's 4 outfield assist game in Delmarva. Again, helped out by some poor base running, but Brenner on the last show was quick to point out that, especially on the one where on the base hit, the guy starts at second and he ends up getting thrown out going back to second, that Brenner had a successful deke to try to convince everyone that he caught the ball when he obviously did not. But, I mean, 4 assists in one game, that's nothing to shrug your shoulders at.
No, I mean, and that's a kid that works at his defense. These guys, I love working with the outfielders. It's another challenge in my career to, obviously you come up as a different, I played a different position, but I love working with those guys, the 4 or 5 guys we had every day. And Brenner takes that stuff serious. Greedy takes that stuff serious. But yeah, 4 assists in one game on a day game on a Sunday when we, I don't know if we already had the series locked up. It doesn't matter, but throwing the ball to the right base, throwing one hops to the plate, throwing one hops to second base, and then letting guys just tag guys. All you're doing is the extension of the throw. And Brenner practices those things, and it worked. It was awesome.
Yeah, and that was the 13-inning getaway day because
That's
the
right.
Freddies, the Freddies can't play short getaway day games on the road, right? That's just not in the cards for us.
No more of a Salem, exactly.
Yeah. So number 8, we just decided to give number 8 to Elijah Green out there in center field. I mean, there's 100 plays we could decide. We decided to pull one from Columbia. I thought, for my money, this play in Columbia is the most improbable catch that he made just based on where he was and the ball off the bat. I mean, I didn't think there was a chance, even for him off the bat, that he was going to catch this ball. But, I mean, he catches it with room to spare. We're always like, oh, we got to find a diving play. He doesn't have diving plays because he's so fast. He just
Right.
gets there. So I
Right.
mean, this play in Columbia is just unreal.
No, it's stupid. He was, shaded oppo and and he hits it in the left center gap where you would think the left fielder would get it. But, Greeny making a play on it and just going and getting it, man. Dude, he's special, and he does such a good job of coming in on balls. And like you said, like, remember we were talking about it. I'm like, I can't remember one specific thing because there's so many of them.
Right.
And that's why obviously he won the minor league defensive player of the year for the national system because,
Makes sense.
X, Y, and Z, Greeny's a beast. So yeah, so fast.
And number 7, Calvin Diaz inside the park home run. His first game, he's one of those guys that came up from Florida. Fortunately, Everett Cooper III went down with a shoulder injury, and his season ended prematurely. And Diaz was the replacement guy for Coop and started with the team on the road. This was his very first at-bat here in Fredericksburg. And obviously the center fielder for Lynchburg takes a chance. It doesn't work out, and Diaz circles the bases with relative ease. I mean, that's kind of a tough bar to set there in your first at-bat in your home ballpark, right?
Right. Yeah. And here's another guy that came from another organization that we got, early in the season in
Yep.
Florida. He ends up being on the championship ball club. And yeah, so he hits the ball and Tony Hawk dives and misses it. And Kelvin, I found out he was fast, like right there. It was kind of cool. And I'm like, we got a chance. We got to send him. Boom, send him. Easy play. Pretty cool, man. That was one of the special moments of the year.
Yeah, that's literally what I said on the call is like, how fast can this guy run? We don't really know, but we're
Right.
gonna
Let's
find
see
out.
it. Let's see it. Send them, baby.
And he was easily safe. There wasn't any question about whether or not you should have sent him. So that's a pretty exciting number 7. And number 6 was pretty wild too. Christian Vaquero's throw home to get Wolco in the championship series. And obviously that's a great play in a vacuum, but the context of it, I think, is even more important because we'd taken the 3-run lead early, and then Kannapolis, I mean, they're a good team. They're a veteran team. They hit right back. They had 2 runs already home in that inning trying to get the game tied, and Vaquero cuts the guy down, hold on to the lead, and we never gave up the lead the rest of that game and ended up winning the series. I mean, it's hard to overstate the importance of this play.
Yeah, like you said, like we had the 3-run lead. They had a guy at third too, I think. Guy scored.
Yeah.
So it's 3-2, and we cut the run down the plate, right? We talked about keeping low throws. He came and got the ball, ground ball routine, nice, easy 1-hop, 2-hop to the plate, easy tag, questionable call according to, whoever, but they overreacted a lot, I thought,
Yeah.
in my opinion, but clear out, kept the game right where it was. I think Romero was on the mound still.
He was, yep.
Yes. So, kept him in the game too, because if that guy scores, that's another run, a whole lot of things could happen, but he came and closed the gap on the ball and the ground ball and, gave us a shot. And man, those are like the momentum things you get back in the dugout. And I'm like, all right, let's hit for a while. You know what I mean? Yep. So gave us a really good chance to keep rolling and get some more runs.
And then more runs came shortly thereafter, right? I mean, it really was such a teetering point in the game play. And luckily Vaquero made it and it fell our way the rest of the way.
Correct.
So that was number 6. Number 5, we go back to Green, but this time with the bat. Huge home run in Game 2 in Carolina to tie the game. Eventually, we took the lead late and ended up sweeping that series. But, I mean, my gut tells me there may have been a Game 3 in that series without this swing.
Yeah, like you said, it tied the game. He led off that inning. It was almost like, yeah, I'm going to do my Superman thing real quick. And like I had a feeling at third, I'm like, we just need like one big hit, one big, run or something to get us going. And the next guy's
it's kind of been a dink and dunk type game, right?
Right. Like 2 pitchers going back and forth, doing a really good job of keeping runs off the board and like, guys making good plays or like guys hitting balls right at guys, like you said, the dink and dunk right back and forth. And then Greeny just unleashed a Greeny shot to left field. And I feel like I was like, that's it. That was it. We're going to roll. We got a good pen. They're done, so that was the nail in the coffin to keep rolling with that game because we were counting outs at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to overstate the magnitude of that swing too. And obviously, not only was it huge that he hit a home run, but the home run itself was
into the night, like
it almost hit that water tower in Zebulon. I mean, it was pitch black out. There's no lights. As soon as the ball
Right.
goes over the big tall wall there, it's just gone from civilization. And it felt like
Yes.
he hit that thing back to Raleigh.
Yes. And it was just what we needed, just what the doctor ordered.
Just what the doctor ordered for sure. Speaking of big flies, we go to number 4. Back to back to back home runs in Salem. Green starts it. Pimentel number 2, and then Quintana number 3. I feel like we've totally glossed over one of the most important players from the season, Brandon Pimentel, and
Right.
we'll talk about him a little bit later on this list. But I mean, I've never seen back to back to back home runs in person before. It's a pretty rare thing for a team to be able to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean Greeny started off, and then the Green Goblin Pimentel goes right center for a guy who doesn't hit a ton of home runs,
Right.
just when they count, no big deal. And then telepathically at third, I'm trying to tell Q like if there's a time, please try now.
Yeah.
And then he unleashes one to left field, and I
First
was like,
pitch, too.
first pitch, and I was like, he did it. Like he got it. Let's go. That was cool because like I get to do 3 different handshakes around third. Always one of my favorite things to do.
Hmm.
But back to back to back, like you said, it's a rare thing. Like it doesn't happen very often, and when it does, it's usually number one play on Sports Center. But that was cool. 3 runs, boom, 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 on the road too. The dugout was hype.
Yeah.
It was,
It was Saturday night too, big crowd in Salem in that big stadium. Like
that's
you
right.
just can't beat it. I wanted to touch on the home run handshakes. Do you set aside time like, oh, we're gonna come up with these right now, or does it kind of just happen organically?
No, I tell the guys, especially when they come up, like, hey, Greeny, Brenner, these guys, like, what are we doing? And then you have someone like uh Peoples come up, and I'm like, hey, like, what are we doing, man? Like, it could happen your first game, and then like, what do you do? Hit a home run like his first game, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, we have to get this right. Like, you may not hit another. I don't know when you're gonna hit another one. Like, I don't know that. So then we do it. I'm like, I told you. That's why. Like, that's why we do that. You got to know in the dugout. It's also like a form of letting these guys know like I don't need just like I don't need just a handshake. Like, let's do something cool that's under like let's keep it in balance. But it's also like hey, welcome to the team. Like, I'm your manager, but also like we're gonna have fun. But need to know something cool because when you hit a home run, like I don't know how many you're gonna hit in your career. So let's do something
Right.
cool.
So it's almost like an icebreaker for you then.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's right before the game because I'm like, I know you're thinking about a million things, but let's think about this because this could happen.
Yeah. Wonderful. So we go from back to back to back home runs to a no hitter. And I think, it's special to throw a no hitter under any context, but for this specific team who lost a no hitter like 3 weeks before with 2 outs in the ninth inning after a miraculous defensive play, and I wanted to include Ochoa's defensive play to
That's
save
short.
that
Yeah.
first no hitter in this top 10 list, but I felt like I couldn't given that it didn't end in a no hitter. But now, you've got Sakura, and we'll talk about him next, but you've got Sakura going 18 up, 18 down in the midst of his most dominant stretch in an overall dominant season. And then the bullpen comes in and does their thing. I mean, that ninth inning was a little shaky defensively, but, a no hitter
An
is
air's
a
an
no
air, right?
hitter. And
Yeah.
we talk Justin Lord. Obviously, he's been coaching for a good while now in a couple different organizations, and he talked about how many times that he, as a pitching coach, has seen his staff come up just short of a no hitter. He was maybe the person that I thought of first when it was getting down to that nitty gritty in the ninth inning.
Yeah, and I think that's just how hard it is to get that 27th out that it's always elusive or it's alluded to.
Right.
The last one, and you see how many guys in the big leagues have missed a no hitter by that last out or
Mm.
whatever. But those last couple outs are the hardest to get. Bullpen did a great job of no panic and stuff if something happened behind them. But like just how we came up a little short, like you said, 3 weeks prior to that, and then to finish it off, I'm like, we're counting out to this point again, like we're here again, like second time's a charm. So we're all calm in the dugout, but like inside, like man, this would be really cool. Boom, just another thing to the season.
Right. And now I think is the right time to talk about Sakura. I mean, we see a lot of really talented players both on our team and in this league. I'd be hard pressed to find a pitcher that's more dominant than him in my 3 years. I mean, he just not only does he have the stuff to be dominant at any level, but it's the way he attacks it for me at such a young age. I mean, his first season, his age 20 season after being drafted out of high school. I mean, it's just, I feel like saying that he's advanced is underselling it.
Yeah, I mean, you're correct. I mean, there's nothing else you could say is that it's not that he cares more than other guys, but like he signed up to do this. He got this was your path instead of going to college, and he's taken it to the degree of the nutrition, the routine, the throwing program, the how to attack hitters, how to grow. And he killed it, right, for us, and he did it when it counted. Just for me, it was just like, wow, like that was a good pick, right? That was a guy that we did some makeup on, and he had the right characteristics of a starting pitcher. He has all the attributes, and that's something we can work with, right? And he and Lordy really did a good job of controlling the controllables and himself to go and navigate through lineups and learn how to do that, right? Because it's his first year really doing it. He didn't do it the year before. So he's doing it, and then he was the Carolina Pitcher of the Year, and he was the Nationals. I mean, he deserved it, and it was we're capping innings here and there, and capping pitch counts and things, but it's like this dude's nasty. And then he stepped up when we needed it the most. And as a 19-year-old kid, that's pretty hard to do, but he was in control, and it was the right guy at the right spot.
And he pitched the 2 clinching games in each playoff series as well. I mean, if that isn't a winning player, then I don't know what is.
Correct.
I mean, there's really nothing.
Right. There's nothing like that's okay. That's what we got. Oh, all right. Like I feel confident. Good. Sweet.
Yeah. Let's head on over to Kannapolis and let's head on over and raise that trophy.
That's right.
So we're up to number 2 on the top 10 list. And, we went back and forth about should a no-hitter be ahead of a cycle? The reason that I put the Royce Quintana's cycle in May in Myrtle Beach as number 2 is because it's one guy. Obviously, it was a combined no-hitter for the pitchers, and it's a true cycle. He went right in order: single, double, triple, homer. I mean, that was another getaway day. That was the last day of a 2-week road trip. We'd been to Charleston. We'd obviously played the whole week in Myrtle Beach. I mean, what a cool moment for Q. And that road trip, I feel like, kind of launched him to being promoted.
Right. Yeah, I think that was I just had to see him leg out a triple, and then it was a call to Eddie. Hey, he can do it. He's fine. Yeah, for a guy that doesn't hit a lot of triples.
Right. To got the right bounce off the wall.
Exactly. Too. Off a good outfielder, he misplayed it. Yeah, no doubt. And another moment, like, hey, you have the cycle in your bounce, maybe try to hit a home run. Like that would be really cool. Oh, there it goes. So
right. Yeah. And his situational awareness. I mean, we were, obviously the back thing that we're talking. Ben and I between innings before that are like, Quintana's coming up here. If he's not letting this rip, like what are we doing? And then sure enough, bang, and it's dead center too. I mean,
that was a bomb.
I've never seen. We've been to that stadium 3 years in a row now, so we've done 18 games there the last 3 seasons or so. I'm not sure I think I've seen one home run hit to that same spot, and it was by Kevin Alcantara, who's a top prospect. And Alcantara, and then Quintana's just out there. It wasn't a cheapo home run, because you can hit cheapo home runs there in Myrtle in the short porch and left, but I mean, this thing was bombed to dead center.
It was a bomb. And that was, I think you're right though. Like it was the 2-week, we're getaway, like we're trying to get out of there, but it's like just a long week. It
was a 4 o'clock start,
Yeah, like we had to stay in the hotel, and just what are we doing? But at the same time, it's a cool moment because like you see it as a visiting player or someone you played with do it, but to do it on your own team, I mean that was the first time I've had someone do it, and it was not the candidate that I would expect, right, from Q, legging out triples, but man, he's got it in there, dude, and that was another special moment for him in the season.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, too. I mean, what a joy he is. So, number 1 on our top 10 list is just the championship win. I mean, I couldn't narrow it down to one moment in that Game 3, but I think if you are going to narrow it down to one moment, it's got to be Pimentel's home run in the 3rd inning, which I can claim credit for because it's on the record that I called it. I said, oh, this feels like a Brandon Pimentel game. He's come up big in every situation, it feels like, and now he does again. High fly ball, right field side. It's out of here! Big game, Pimentel strikes again, and the FredNats are up 2-zip. Two-run homer, Freddie's never looked back. I mean, what? That was just a perfect cherry on top moment for a guy that had had a wonderful season from start to finish, just leading this offense.
Yeah, we talk about it like he was the most consistent player on our team, not just because he played a position where, you can play every day, but, he did, I mean, he saved so many errors at first base. I thought he got gypped. You and I talked about it for the postseason All-Star in every category, whatever. Like he should have been. I don't even know if he got voted for, but I voted for him. I know he's on my team, but I saw it every day. Like,
mine too.
Right, the work ethic, the ability to pick balls, to hit line drives all over the place. I'm not sure why you lead the league in hits and top 5 in average and RBIs, but you weren't just a joke in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know it doesn't mean much, but yeah, like when he hit the home run and it was like the hardest high five that we gave each other all year, like dapping up at third base. And it was like, that's all we need. Like, I'm good there. Like, we got the guys we want, pitching and the bullpen the rest of the game. Like, we're counting outs. Like, this is it. That was it. That was the moment that we needed to get ringed. So that was cool.
And he's such a chill, just stoic guy. I mean, like sometimes you worry, like, is this guy like alive? And then
he's got ice in the veins, Eric. Let's go, man.
He does, for sure he does. Right. And I mean, to talk about the magnitude of that moment, I mean, this guy that's normally like he barely has a pulse out there, at least showing that he barely has a pulse, like stopped around first base. He's like firing up the crowd. I mean, it is really the stuff that like dreams are made of. Like that's the moment that you dream about as a kid growing up, like in professional baseball, to have a swing like that. And I remember earlier when we had Sikora on this podcast, he said, I didn't actually see the swing from the dugout, but I heard the crack of the bat and I knew that we were going to win after that. I mean, that's the type of moment that it was, right? Like one swing, that we're going to win the title because of that.
Right. And it's like we got Kranz, we got Arguelles, we got the boys, Blue Bomb, we got everyone, we're stacked. And just the way that game was, we lost the first game, but there was no panic in the guys. It's come in, get a whatever sub tropical smoothie thing for the last time. And like, hey, this is last game, here we go. Like there didn't need to be any motivation told to the boys. Like they understand what's going on. And like you said, that home run, I saw the numbers of the right fielder and it was like, it's over, man. Like we got studs on the mound. We got guys coming out of the pen. Defense has been fine. Like we're ready to go. It's not raining as hard anymore. We're ready to roll. So that was the momentum shift where I think like we took the sails out of them, out of a good team, right? And that was it. That was it for me.
And that night you touched on it, but it was just a weird situation, right? It's a obviously the weather didn't work out the night before, but it's a 7-inning game to decide a championship. And, it would be easy for a group to kind of become unnerved, right? You win the first game on the road, you've got a day off, then you've got another day off because of the weather, and now you lose the first 7-inning game. It would have been easy for that group to kind of unfold and have it go the other way. But because of plays and players like Pimentel and Sikora, it didn't.
Yeah, I think that's just a testament to these guys, the way that they went about their business. There wasn't like when you'd have a raw, speech and all this stuff. It was just, hey, business as usual. Change your jersey top. We're going to go out swinging George with the Sikora. I don't think Kannapolis got the memo that you weren't supposed to wear blue and blue, but it was the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Not my call. Hey, not my call. We're wearing what we want. We're at home. And swinging George is our guy. And it was just a testament to the guys. And I can't say enough great things about them because the way they went about their business. And then you had something happen in the game with Vaquero. We're trying to get an answer out of him, and it's like, I don't think he's good. Like, let's get him out. Let's get Moda in. He's fine. He's going to make some plays. He's going to be great. And then you get Ochoa to make that. It's just a couple things in that game, defensively, offensively, and then pitching with Steady Eddie that brought us that championship.
just made the plays that had to be made to win. I mean, that's pretty
That's it.
much that's as simple as it can get.
That's right.
And so that night obviously was memorable for all of us. You know, Chris Crick in the clubhouse getting it all set up and getting the
Three.
party going. What a guy.
What a guy, man. He's the best. He's the best, dude. But yeah, we got to celebrate with everyone. You know, we got to pop champagne for the third time, you know, in 10
Yeah.
days. And like that's the best one. Last one, best one.
Yeah.
You know, we did a we did a good service to that clubhouse and everyone had a blast. So, and like we said, we were saying goodbyes to people as they were getting on the road, you know, maybe the guys that, you know, were ready to, you know, they had been there and just kind of hanging around and you know, one by one. And then the next day we see a couple guys and then, you know, we're all, it's the, hey man, it's the off season. Like, we'll see you.
Yeah. See you later.
See you in spring training, get that
Yeah.
ring. But yeah, it was fun, man. And of course, the next day it's super sunny and, you know, everything. So it's just like, well, look at that. The sun's out.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, the sun came up not long after that celebration finished in that clubhouse, I think.
Correct. That's right.
It was definitely a night that I certainly will not forget, and I'm sure the same for everyone. So we can cut this out if we need to, but your time in Fredericksburg, at least for now, has come to an end. Wilmington in 2025. I mean, I know you can't disclose about the staffs and all that stuff until it becomes, you know, officially official, but I mean, now you get to move with a lot of these guys. You know, presumably a lot of those guys from Fredericksburg in 24 will at least start in Wilmington in 25. That's got to be a pretty exciting thing for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I would think the King, you know, probably the Green, the Brenners,
Yeah,
maybe I don't know, the catching situation and things like that. But you know,
right.
I would say we'd have a pretty good core from the Freddies. That would be, you know, it'd be obviously like time for them, you would assume.
Sure.
We don't make decisions on, you know, that, but yeah, no doubt, man. I think going to another level to see these guys, you know, compete. You know, I'd be remiss to not say that like we were steady Eddie up the middle with, you know, Cruz the early part of the season, but then we
Yeah.
had, you know, Seaver and all he brought to the table and just kind of, you know, shoring up our infield with, you know, back and forth at second base. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited every year. I'm starting to get that itch already, but
Yeah.
you know, come spring training time, you know, we'll see these guys and wherever there may be, but at the same time, like I have a feeling like most of those guys would be coming with, right?
Got to think, right?
Right. Right.
And do you know your official report date? Because you're one of the earliest spring training arrivals, right?
Yeah, I would assume like I'll be doing the schedule again, so I'm assuming I'll be probably I would say like whenever big league camp starts, probably like a couple days before that,
Yeah.
for like an earlier camp, probably like a 10-day, 2-week thing with those early prospects, and then the regular guys probably, you know, early March. Looking at a calendar, probably like the 6th, 7th, 8th ish, and then pitchers and catch or that'd be probably pitchers and catchers, and then probably position players would be like the 13th, 14th around that time, maybe a little earlier. I have no idea yet. I'm sure it's coming out soon. I do
Yeah.
not know. But yeah, I'll be down there early for like I'd assume I'd be there the entire time. So that's something I look forward to every year to get out there, get that experience, and you know, be around the big league staff and learn from these guys and keep growing to take that into our season.
It's coming soon, man. I mean, we were talking the other day about how, yep, I think I'm ready for the season to be back now.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I think I'm
been a
ready.
nice few fall months of, you know, off season and getting to do what you want to do, but man, oh man, it was so much fun, not only in 24, but in all 3 years that we were able to spend together. And, um, you know, regardless of where we both end up, I just personally want to say that I appreciate you so much and you made my job so much easier. And you've set a high bar for managers for me to work with throughout my career.
No, I appreciate the kind words, my man. But at the same time, it's our paths will cross again. Doesn't that's you know how baseball is, but
I do.
yeah, it was fun, man. Because at the same time, you have someone that's supportive of the team and he's engaging with fans like yourself and the listeners. You know, it makes people want to listen and want to tune in rather than, you know, we have some teams that don't even have, you know, someone in your position. So, you
Right.
know, for the last 3 seasons, it was a blast. You know, up and down the system, up and down our front office from, you know, everybody. So for me, it was worth it, right? You know, and that's how you get along with people. That's how you form relationships and keep the ship rolling, as they say.
Yeah, we're definitely lucky in lots of ways here in Fredericksburg, and that certainly is one, the support of my position and the broadcast in general. So
Facts.
can't complain about that. It's definitely the best. Well, Jake, this has been an amazing catch up, and appreciate you coming on. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Hopefully Santa stops by the Lowery household this Christmas.
You as well, man. I hope Michigan State gets a lot of wins. I hope the Lions
Green,
keep
baby.
go winning that Super Bowl. Man, it's fun to watch. Jared Goff needs you in the playoffs, kid. Here we go. But yeah, man, had a blast always. This is fun stuff. I love doing this anytime, man, for the boys.
Appreciate you, Skipper, and we'll talk to you next time on This Week in FredNats.